All right, video's titled Inside a Jacksonville Police Drug Raid.
You to be taking drugs
Brazil
off the
too?
street.
No.
We
Almost. I'm in Miami.
Safe. We'll do whatever it takes to enforce the law and take drugs off the street.
Right here.
Yep, it's that one. Should be second block on the right.
Brown. Hey, watch this car. Watch this car.
Oh,
Sheriff's Office, search warrant! Stop running!
It's 1:20 Saturday, and we're responding to the scene of an overdose.
you got loose? Oh, thank God.
What you just
Inside a
witnessed was an
Jacksonville
operation
drug
from
bust.
Jacksonville's undercover narcotics unit raiding the house of a suspected drug dealer. You also just saw a snippet of their overdose team investigating a drug-induced death to see if there's a drug dealer that they need to find and charge with a homicide. Currently, Jacksonville law enforcement is receiving nationwide attention for things like cutting their county's homicide rate in half over a 1-year period and employing state-of-the-art crime-fighting technology. For a few days, me and the boys embedded with Jacksonville Sheriff's Office to see their methods in action. This video is part 1 of a 3-part series we are releasing, with part 1 focusing on how Jacksonville fights drug-related crime, and for part 2 we will be on a night patrol with cops and K-9 units, and for part 3 we will be looking into how their SWAT team and gang task force tackles murders and gang violence. This, folks, is unprecedented access that we are proud to bring to you. Let's get to it.
How did this thing record? Yo, how did it? I live in Jackson. I actually don't know shit about
We're pulling up
Jacksonville.
on an undercover drug raid. There's a drug task force here in Jacksonville that is really trying to crack
Yo,
down
CB,
on
thank you for
fentanyl
resub, bro.
and the problems that drugs bring into a community. This is a blood pumping type of experience. This is something where you breach a door and someone resists. There could be shots fired. You might have to bring in SWAT. You might have to, it's a high pressure job. Let's go in and check this out and see what the next step is. We were walking into an office where undercover officers worked and where their top secret operations were planned. So we were instructed to keep the cameras low until it was time to move out on this raid.
So I'm Lieutenant Manna with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office.
Jax is the
Narcotics-
largest city in Southeast United States. Right. What happened to Miami, gang? Or Orlando? Are they not in this equation? Largest.
Units. I'm
By
over
lane.
narcotics and vice.
And what's the operation today? What are we looking for?
Today we have a search warrant
Nigga, that's
for
not
a
what
drug
largest
house.
means, and
We
you know
conducted
that,
several buys from the property, and we know they selling drugs from inside the house. And
What
we
kind?
are going to Avenue. It's on the west side of town.
Is there a particular drug we're looking for?
Yo, every
we
time I hear about
conducted several
Jacksonville, it has
buys.
to
We
do
bought
with
crack
fucking
cocaine.
drugs, gang shit, a whole bunch
How
of
many
thug
drug raids do
activity.
you think you've been on in your day?
2-3 a week.
Do we know if the guy living here has many firearms?
We haven't seen any. 'cause
I'm
if we
sure
did,
there's
it was
I'm sure there's more to it, bro, but I
So
don't know
the
what it
guys,
is.
the job
Every
they do
time
is
I hear
very
about this
dangerous,
place, it's not
especially
good,
the first
man.
person inside the property, because you just don't know what's behind the closed doors.
If you need to throw one of us in as human bait to make the operation go through, just we'll draw straws as a crew.
All right, let's go.
What does it mean to you to be taking drugs off the street?
It means a lot. We try to keep our community safe, and obviously this is a vicious circle with supply versus demand, but we'll do whatever it takes to enforce the law and take drugs off the street.
Do you think you'll ever completely wipe drugs off the street?
I think you can put a dent to it. I don't think you can wipe it off completely because there are some, for instance, marijuana is legal in certain states. It's a very tough challenge. Again, it's a vicious circle. It's supply versus demand.
City's getting better and better over
That
the
guy
years.
going right there?
You going in?
Yep, he's going to the door.
I never been. I feel like I've been everywhere else before. Jackson.
That's right. Yeah,
Yep, it's that one. Should be second block on the right.
Door looks to towards Brown. Hey, watch this car. Watch this car.
The way they gave this thing a GoPro footage, bro.
office, search warrant.
Hey!
There's somebody running in the back door.
Nigga said it must be a ton of weed.
Two. Black jacket. Black pants, another one. They're running, they ran out of the apartment complex.
Stop running! I got nothing.
I got one. The other one with the gray hoodie, I don't know where he went.
Stop running! 4-5 on Mike's foot into the back.
What the fuck? What in the Far Cry 3? Baby ass palm tree.
You got one of the page cars coming around you on high road.
Did he trip? No, there's a baby.
Undo your handcuffs? Loose. I can fit a finger in between there, buddy. That's kind of what we got to do.
Hi, y'all ready? So, in this case, we got a bunch of crack cocaine. We have a lot of powder cocaine. We got some beakers, a bunch of drug paraphernalia, scales. So obviously, we got to say that was successful.
Is crack cocaine as common as it was in early 2000s?
It still is, I would say, crack cocaine, yeah.
How would you classify this
with a
bust?
fucking
Small,
baby,
medium,
though?
large?
Probably a medium scale to small. Small to medium.
How many people in custody?
So far, 3. And obviously, we have a baby now, so we're trying to get hold of the mother. Apparently, she's at work, so she'll be coming back.
What goes through your head when you see a baby inside one of those houses?
You won't be the first. A lot of times, so we we hold the baby, we assist, and then what we do is trying to reunite the baby with the parents. And apparently, that's the father, who's the mother, is at work. Since the father is going to be arrested, then the mother will respond to take control of her child.
Do they feel like, I'm
Is
glad
there a
that this is
difference
happening?
between crack cocaine and cocaine? That's a good question that Google will have the answer to. No, that's the type of shit I don't want to Google because I don't want to be on nobody's radar.
That they got busted?
Absolutely, absolutely. We get feedback all the time. They don't let.
But
these
someone in the
guys.
chat
They
probably
don't
has,
want
yeah,
them
yes.
in their
See?
neighborhoods.
Because they make them
Fuck,
dangerous.
y'all know.
Yeah,
What the
they're
fuck?
using drugs in
Well, how does
their
everybody know
In
the
the
answer
last
to
year,
that?
Jacksonville Sheriff's Office
Major
has fielded
difference.
over 5,000 calls for service for drug-related incidents. And in a 2024 survey of Jacksonville residents, next to gun violence, illegal drug usage was the top issue residents wanted the Sheriff's Office to focus their resources on.
A lot of times they.
Top issue survey of Jacksonville residents, next to gun violence.
Okay, this is the type of shit that blows my mind, bro. What do you mean you want traffic safety? You want more concern over traffic safety than domestic violence, bro? Like, you want niggas to... Is the speed limit that fucking important, bro? You care about the speed limit more than property crime, my nigga? What the fuck?
Violence, illegal drug usage was the top issue residents wanted the Sheriff's Office to focus their resources
I
on.
just see the
A
shit
lot of
flicker
times
on
they are
Opera.
afraid, and
Yo,
the
I think
ones
it's a
they
GPU
step
issue,
up,
Chad.
They give us complaints and information. We work every complaint that we get.
I mean, to live in a
This is my only
place
working
where
PC, bro.
you
If this
know
shit
dangerous
blows.
guys with guns are in and out all the time, and junkies are coming, and you have kids around here.
And this is just the pre-preliminary search. Obviously, they go into details to search the property. And typically on the secondary search, they find additional drug paraphernalia and additional drugs.
Shit look like
Our
Texas.
overdose deaths are down significantly year over year here.
This is Vic Michelucci. Previously, he was a Jacksonville investigative journalist who won Crime Reporter of the Year. He
Crime
left his
Reporter of
14-year
the
career to
Year?
run communications and media for the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, and he is the one that opened up the doors for us to be here today.
Fewer people are dying.
And this is just one part of that initiative,
Yeah,
or
this
that
is a
push.
part of that.
Yeah.
But as you saw with that situation, not only did they find drugs, they found at least one gun. And a lot of
GGs.
times when you see drug sales, you see firearms, and that leads to violence.
The murder that comes with the marijuana trade. I'm gonna tell you, I've worked murders where a pound of marijuana was stolen and people get killed for it. It may not seem like a big deal to the populace or to people that are advocates for marijuana, but that's a big deal. One life, I always say to everybody, is too many.
Look, there was that kid in there. I mean, that kid was what,
He's farming ones right now.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any excuse for that.
Yeah,
whether you're dealing drugs, doing drugs, around people that are doing drugs, to expose that child there.
A baby though, bro.
We've had
that is pretty disgusting, bro. A baby, my nigga.
Issues of accidental overdoses with kids, and we put that out, and thankfully, the most recent instances, our officers were able to save those kids. But imagine having to give Narcan to a 1-year-old.
We just got to watch a successful raid take down an armed crack dealer, but Jacksonville's war on drugs has another side to it, the Overdose Task Force. Whether we'd meet them this trip depended on one thing, an overdose happening while we were in town. Early Saturday afternoon, that call came in.
This got to be top.
So we've been on standby the 4 days we've been in Jacksonville for when an overdose happens, we're gonna get the call. Unfortunately, it's 1:20 on a Saturday, and we're responding to the scene of an overdose. This is hard to walk into. I mean, you're walking into a family's worst nightmare with cameras, and we want to be respectful of what they're experiencing, but also convey something that happens every day around America in a real way. So, we'll see you on the scene.
So it was an overdose here.
Right now the victim is still present, so we're gonna allow you guys to come in, just kind of keep a distance. We'll be collecting a bunch of things. I think that would be very good, and like as far as the recording and stuff.
Who are you and what do you do? What's your role?
So I am Sergeant Kay Cruz. I am with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. I'm a part of the Narcotics Overdose Death Investigations Unit.
We are allowed to cross the threshold and film inside the battalion?
Yeah. Just
because
don't.
we have consent from the family?
Yeah, and then that's also why I was speaking to the next of kin, because I didn't want her to be like, why is media here? So I was explaining to her the reasoning for you guys being here and like helping, produce information to give out to the public to hopefully prevent future overdoses for overdose awareness.
As you enter a scene, what are you
Teflon, David, what's
looking
up,
for?
man?
What are you gonna?
So the very beginning of our investigation is the patrol response. Anytime patrol responds to a undetermined death, depending on the evidence on scene, determines what unit will come out to conduct the death investigation. The initial investigation, we're unable to determine what the actual cause of death is. When we respond to the scene, there's kind of two different investigations going on. You have your medical examiner's office investigation, and you also have your Jacksonville Sheriff's Office investigation. The medical examiner's office will do all the medical related stuff. So they're doing the toxicology, and they're actually going to determine the actual cause of death. We are conducting the Sheriff's Office investigation. So with any individual, or if an individual provides a controlled substance to an individual that is a substantial factor in their death, they can be held liable.
And we know that, we're trying to figure that out.
We're trying to figure that out. Again, very initial stages of the investigation. We're processing the scene with the crime scene unit. And also we're working with the medical examiner's office. We're collecting any evidence that may assist our investigation.
What has you wearing a mask to the scene?
We wear those to protect our identities because a lot of us work in an undercover capacity, so that's why we wear the mask, because we're out in the public. So we just try to conceal our identities from members of the public, because you never know if someone here at the scene provided drugs to the victim, or if any of these people could potentially be a suspect or a drug dealer for a case that we encounter later.
Is it possible that you might find the dealer, you might do an undercover buy from the same dealer that sold here?
Yes, it's possible.
Because that way you're familiar with the case.
Yes.
Have you ever been in a sketchy situation?
A lot of them.
Explain one of them.
Damn, so this nigga really can't go nowhere without that mask on.
Sometimes they'll do that to make sure no one's coming in behind you, so you're in there with them trying to buy drugs, and they'll lock the doors behind you. They have guns on them. They have drugs there. There was a case in Miami recently where they made an undercover actually smoke fentanyl just to say that he wasn't an undercover.
Did he pass away?
No.
Hey, I'll be honest, man. That's the day I quit my job, man. I'm finding a new career path. You're not getting me to smoke fentanyl for no fucking job, nigga. I don't give a fuck whose live might get. Hey, but that's it. After that, that's one of those drugs you don't need to try it a second time. Boom, you're cooked now. Like after the first try, it's GG's, your brain's fried officially. Now you're addicted to the shit, and your life's gonna be over in T-minus 2 years, bro. That's a dangerous one, man. Like, maybe if they said, like literally any other drug, actually. That's the worst one.
No, he did not.
What she's referring to is an insane story that just happened a couple weeks ago. A Miami fentanyl dealer got suspicious of an undercover agent and gave the guy two options. You either smoke this fentanyl and die, or I'm gonna kill you anyways. Terrified, the agent had no choice but to hit the Chinese import in front of the dealer. Somehow he survived, and SWAT raided these guys soon after. And it just goes to highlight the incredible danger of this undercover profession.
I've had drug dealers before try to get me to smoke drugs, and it's just, you know, it can be pretty dangerous and sketchy. Pretty much this entire career is pretty dangerous.
What got you into it?
When I was little,
Road
I really
fent is a completely different compound.
I'm not from Jacksonville, but
wait, why niggas keep saying agent? Oh, stop.
I used to watch the episodes, and I remember
stop.
the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office episodes and being like, that area in particular, I don't know why, stuck with me, and I was like, that looks like a pretty crazy place to live or work.
Yo,
or
Beanie, welcome back,
we
bro.
talked to, prior to making entry, we're talking to patrol to provide us with their information that they collected upon their initial response. We're talking to any next of kins that are on scene, and we're also talking to any complainants or witnesses. We're just trying to gather what happened before police were called to the scene. For this particular structure, the room where the victim was located.
Sponge, appreciate you. Thank you for the fire. Get the subs, my boy.
From the back.
I appreciate it, Sponge. The other nigga was undercover. That's why he had to have the mask on. It's a clean stovetop, man. It's rare nowadays. A lot of y'all niggas stovetops is disgusting.
What are the primary things we're looking for? Where are your eyes going right now?
So eyes are going in the immediate area where the victim was located, but also like common areas of the house, living room, bathroom. We're checking for any paraphernalia, narcotics related, and any additional narcotics or any paraphernalia to even include like little baggies that could have been packaging for narcotics. I've been working narcotics related investigations for a little over 7 years now. I've been working narcotics overdose death investigations for approximately 3.5, 4 years.
What got you into the overdose unit?
I enjoyed working narcotics investigations. I noticed that before the creation of this unit, homicide was responding to these types of investigations. And prior, this was kind of before it became, we fell under the Florida State statute of murder. Once we started falling under that Florida State statute, we were able to dig deeper into different types of investigations.
Florida lawmakers are not alone in expressing the sentiment that a drug dealer should be subjected to harsh penalties, particularly if they can be tied to an overdose death. In fact, just recently, Trump made headlines again by stating his long-term position that drug dealers should receive the death penalty.
Unless you have the death penalty for drug dealers.
Hey, is that a crazy take, chat? Because I'm not gonna lie to you, man. It gets to a fucking point, dude. Like, if your drug lead to the death of another nigga, bro.
You have to get rid of the drug problem. Put that through your head.
As someone who knows the drug dealing black market much better than Trump, I think the numbers he's throwing out are extreme exaggerations that have no root or basis in fact.
A drug dealer will kill 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 people during the course of his or her life.
It really depends on what someone's selling. If someone has sold fentanyl, obviously they have a much higher chance of causing an overdose
just made up
death.
that fact.
But for some guys,
I'm doing that shit moving forward, nigga, on stream, nigga. I'm just creating my facts, man. Fuck it, bro.
by trapping weed, it is actually impossible that anyone has died as a result of his drug. It says on the DEA's own website that no one has overdosed from marijuana, and yet it's still a Schedule I drug. However, I do agree that a drug dealer needs to be held liable if what he sells kills someone. The question is, to what extent?
Okay, y'all can't see it. It's flickering again.
What do you guys think in the
fuck.
comments? Should a drug dealer be given a death sentence if they cause an overdose death?
I found interest in not only giving closure to the family of the victims, but putting all the pieces together to try and determine who actually sold illegal drugs to the victim.
How many calls like this a week do you typically respond to?
The overdoses, they come in waves. There are times that we can get 10 in a week. There are times that we can get 0. There's no way to determine how many call-outs a week that we're going to get. Crime scene units here, the narcotics overdose detectives are here. They are taking photographs, they're looking around, pointing out or trying to locate any evidence that may be narcotics related. They are waiting for the medical examiner's office to arrive. Once the medical examiner's office arrives, that's kind of where we're now dividing it.
People do drugs by choice, though. Nobody is forcing them to buy drugs. Okay, that's true. But at the same time, though, I think the reason why there's so many deaths is sometimes the drug dealers be spiking the drugs with more dangerous drugs to addict them further to enrich themselves. In which case, that's just straight up murder. If somebody dies as a result of an OD, you just murdered them. That's just what it is. And in any other context, if you're an accessory to murder in that way, you get prosecuted like it. Right? Like if I drove my friend to a spot and he killed somebody, like I'm now implicated in that murder as a result. So if you purposely spiked the drugs, then you didn't consent to fent being put in your other drug that you shouldn't have been doing in the first place.
To like 2 investigations, but we work very close together. Like I said, I think the more information we get out there to the public, make aware
That's
that
how Mac died. That's how Mac Miller died,
fentanyl.
right?
Yes,
the nigga spiked his
That's
shit.
what we're hearing in the news. It's a dangerous, deadly drug. But
and he got prosecuted, as he should.
Any illegal substance can cause a death.
Well, thank you for what you do.
Yeah, thank you.
Some Americans would say, hey, alcohol is legal. Alcohol has a lot of problems. I mean, if you look at domestic disputes, violence, fights, drunkenness, DUIs, yeah, that's a huge multi-billion-dollar industry. Why should we be any different?
Because why add to it? Or why add to the problem that alcohol already causes?
Because prohibition doesn't work. The war on drugs has not solved since the 70s the issues of drugs in our community.
So let me ask you this question. Because we should legalize marijuana because people like to smoke it, we should legalize cocaine, methamphetamine, we should legalize fentanyl, we should legalize all those things? No, of course not.
No, I'm not gonna lie, Chad. I'm not gonna lie. Yo, I think it was hookah. Hookah is illegal in Ethiopia. Okay? I think it's hookah. I know a guy who went to a spot, had to go underground and go to another spot, and there was a back door just so niggas could smoke hookah, bro. I have never seen no one that dedicated to the smoking of hookah. Hookah is usually just a convenient thing that be lying around. You feel me? Your friends set it up, niggas smoke the shit. So I do understand what he's saying. Like, I get where he's coming from. I think niggas will find a way anyway. But I also think when it gets legalized and niggas say, oh, we'll get tax money from it, we are basically accepting the fact that we don't have no control over the situation. We might as well make money off it. That's what it sounds like, which is actually exactly where we're at with gambling, by the way. The government just accept it. It is what it is. Gambling is going to happen. We might as well let the floodgates open and make a fucking killing off this shit.
Because people like it, there are certain things that you just shouldn't do, and I think the government should uphold a standard.
So what gave you reason to believe that this could be a narcotic overdose in the first place?
So,
grown man sneaking into a hookah lounge.
Based off the evidence that is located at the scene of a death, for this particular incident, there is narcotics paraphernalia and additional narcotics on scene. We cannot on scene determine the cause of death. That will be for the medical examiner's office investigation. Because of the evidence that is located on the scene, we want to get a jumpstart on our investigation. So the van actually pulled up super close, and we're keeping family further out, so it should be okay.
I don't know how you guys do this day in and day out. I suppose just like anything.
The more that you see it, the more that you adapt to it. And like I said, with these investigations, it affects the family more than anything.
I think this just goes to show how one death can affect so many people. It's such a ripple effect.
Right.
As you hear the family in the background, I think this goes to highlight, I would not have the stomach for this type of job. And there's the fact that people like you are boots on the ground, and see some of this look death in the face almost on a daily basis sometimes, and have to deal with families and all the thing that come with it. I mean,
right, I will say that making that next of kin notification is the worst part about our job, because we're having to tell a loved one that their loved one is no longer here.
You know what? I like these videos like this need to exist, because so many times people get hooked on this shit thinking like, I'm just doing one time, or like something bad happened in their life and they just want to delete it and not think about it and feel something else. But like, no cap, the easiest way to not get caught in the cycle is to just not start. No cap. Because I literally don't know what a drug would feel like. I've never been high in my life. I've never been lit in my life. Never. It's so easy to not want them. But if I indulged one time in my life when I was really struggling, then the next time I'm going to be way more inclined to try. Now I know what it feels like. You get what I'm saying? It's kind of like Krispy Kreme donuts. Before you knew they existed and what they tasted like, it was easy to not want the Krispy Kreme donuts. But now that you know and that's sugar. Imagine fat! Because you can get addicted to sugar if fat people talk. That's more relatable for me, bro. I'm just fat ass. Okay. All right. Anyway, my point is, it's not just one time, bro. I know it's so easy to convince yourself because everyone else is doing the shit that is cool. But I seen too many niggas go down that path, bro. I seen good people go down, I seen normal, good, quality people go down that path, bro.
What I've seen in my own family, there's not one person.
And like once you hit like hard drugs, bro. Once you're doing like cocaine, once you're doing heroin, at that point, bro, it got your claws on you, man. Now you gotta fight. Not just that day, you gotta fight every day. Every day's a new fight, trying to avoid the temptation, man.
Drugs has. Mm-hmm. You could be in a mansion or you could be in the poorest of the poor. There's not one family in America that probably doesn't have some impact of drugs hitting their family or alcoholism hitting their family.
Right.
It's just such a heavy job. And then this is the other thing is I think like this gives me perspective too, because sometimes it's easy to look at a dealer and be like, oh, he grew up in a messed up neighborhood with a messed up childhood and he's just trying to make some money to put rent on, to pay the rent. But then when it has the impact like this, that makes an entire family gather and cry, then you have a little bit more of a, well, when they get raided, you know why. The
drug dealers know. They know that they are selling this deadly drug. They know what they are selling, so that is why they should be held accountable for what they are selling.
And every single person has that voice inside their heart that knows when something is right or wrong. And to override that just so you can pay rent, even though you can cause devastation to an entire family. Mm-hmm. And one dealer might have,
God.
I mean, do you encounter dealers?
Do
you ever encounter dealers that you guys arrest that are tied to multiple deaths?
Yes.
Yeah, this really helped me change my perspective on drug dealing. I mean, there's so much that comes with this. There's family members that have to pay for the funeral. There's how many people had to call off work to leave here and come. There's people that their lives can be permanently altered by the grief. I mean, I've seen that in my own family very well. Just in today's episode, the fact that a dad is selling crack cocaine next to his baby, and then we land at this scene over here when he's passed away and the family's crying, like, you gotta raise your standards a little bit. It makes me thankful, I mean, for the detectives that have to collect bodies and investigate, and then the people that have to risk their life to go undercover to do the work to catch these guys. That's more of a risk than most of us are willing to take. It's an honest job, it pays the bills, and these are people that go to bat for us in our community. So, a really interesting perspective of how Jacksonville is fighting the flow of drugs through their city. That was a deep dive into the world of Jacksonville crime fighting on the drug division, their narcotics division. Thank you for joining. The support's amazing. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you next week. Thank you.
Tommy, that
Folks,
was
you
a
just saw a glimpse of what
fantastic
Jacksonville law
video,
enforcement
bro.
does. And next week, we'll dive even deeper, doing a night patrol episode that involves a kidnapping call, going out on a mission with a K9 unit, catching a live burglar in action, and much, much more. We will also take a deeper look at the secret sauce that has driven Jacksonville to be a place where the homicide rate has dropped in half, something that is nearly unheard of across the country.
good.
And folks, a reminder, if you want to pick up the freshest merch on YouTube with the Underworld collection and the Big Dogs Gotta Eat
Actually, I
collection.
fuck with that Underworld shit, my
Merch
nigga.
on YouTube with the Underworld collection and the Big Dogs Gotta Eat collection. My website link is in the description. And finally, if you want to become a Patreon subscriber for extended cuts,
Agent, answer my
exclusive
DM
clips,
on
and
IG. Bro, you probably sent some bullshit, gang.
see things weeks before the episode drops, that is also in the description. Both greatly help support the channel, and I am grateful for your support. Love you guys. See you next week.
Hey, Tom, you did your big one. That was a fantastic fucking video, bro. Fantastic video. Oh, so you like the video? Boom. You're gonna like that one too, man. Go ahead, just. Bro, click the video. What the? Bro, that's what I be saying. Like.